Hello again, everybody. My name is Ron Kelsey. Again, I'm sharing some information that I have come across over the years that prove not only how corrupted our local government has become, but the fact that the county commissioners are pretty much allowing Amber Pruitt, the director of misdemeanor probation, to do and get away with whatever she wants. Back to the original policy and procedure manual, which I've been discussing in the other videos, that I really don't believe that the county commissioners even read before they approved it. Well, first of all, let me tell you a little story. I got a message from a guy I was friends with on Facebook, and he said, "Hey Ron, I'm in a little bit of trouble here. I was called in for a drug test, and by the way, they drug test everybody unsupervised. It doesn't matter if you have a dog at large or failure to renew your driver's license, you are still required to drug test twice a month, which to me is basically unconstitutional. But that's how they do it. Anyway, he got called in for a drug test. He said they poured it out, that he couldn't provide the required amount of urine. So they told him, they had him come back at 4 o'clock to try again, and once again he couldn't fill the cup up enough. They poured it out, and he had a meeting with his probation officer, which at the time was Amber Pruitt. So he says, "Hey Ron, do you have any suggestions? What can I do?" So I even offered to pay for the hair test if she would allow it, to prove his innocence, because not being able to pee enough for a drug test that just doesn't make any sense. And you'll understand more why when I share a little bit more of this information. So he goes to his meeting the next morning, and he asks Amber Pruitt about being allowed to provide a hair test, a hair follicle test, to prove that he had not been used. And as far as alcohol, you can actually do a fingernail test, so there's a way to go back in history even for alcohol. She wouldn't allow it. She threw him in jail for 4 days. So he spent 2 weekends in jail away from his family because he couldn't pee enough. At some point in time, I had a friend of mine fill out a public records request and acquire another copy of the policy and procedure manual. So I did notice that the extra page that I'd mentioned in one of my previous videos, page 18, that was duplicated to page 17, basically had been eliminated. It had been amended. But they also, in the original policy and procedure manual, page 20 of 30, ensure a minimum of 25 milliliters or 1 ounce of urine is provided. Okay, so that's the standard amount, 30 milliliters. Most drug testing agencies, that's what they require. The way they do the procedure they follow. So one thing that had changed, and this is page 19 because they had taken the other page out, is we learned that the amount of urine had been increased. Now again, these I will have copies of these in the comments if you'd like to check them out and see exactly where the changes is. So they increased the required amount of urine, ensure that a minimum of 40 millimeters of urine is collected. So what they did was sometime after 2014, or March of 2014, when I received my original copy of policy and procedures, they increased the required amount of urine from 25 milliliters to 40 milliliters and started throwing people in jail because they couldn't meet this new requirement. Now, I don't know where you was at on this one, Bob Cuno, but this amendment, and all you other county commissioners, I did send emails to all the other county commissioners on, March 23rd of last year to make sure that they were all aware, because there's been a lot of new county commissioners come in. I believe we only have one original one in Mendocino County and one original one in Cassia County when I was presenting all this information to them. So I did send them all an email that covered all this information, everything in the past and everything that I'd learned since we were communicating back and forth. But I'm curious, Mr. Cuno and the other county commissioners, how you would even take this into consideration. The fact that by increasing the amount of urine from 25 to 40, that some people may be having a problem, and you should have followed up. I mean, people are actually being thrown in jail now. If you can't provide the full 40 milliliters, even if it's 35, the sample collector will pour it out and say, "Sorry, you got to come back at 4, pay an extra $5 if you can't provide the required amount at that time." It's a probation violation. They are thrown in jail because the county, because Amber Pruitt was allowed to increase the required amount of urine to. So if your body doesn't work, basically what they're doing is if your body doesn't work the same as others, you can't provide this increased required amount, you go to jail. You're taken away from your family, which is completely unconstitutional. It's not fair. And it should have, in January 2012, misdemeanor probation started running their own lab. That's another video I'm going to make as time goes on. It shows that they are not following chain of custody. Okay, well, before that lab was ever approved, this should have been taken into consideration. That, hey, this new lab, in order to make it work, we're going to have to store our share of the sample and send the rest off for, so we're going to have to increase the required amount of urine, which could cause problems, and it has. For I don't know how many hundreds, probably, in the years that this has gone on, that they're going to jail because they simply cannot provide enough urine after the county increased the required amount. So anyway, that needs to be fixed. As far as I'm concerned, that lab needs to go away. It needs to be taken back down to the original amount. People should not be going to jail for being unable to pee enough. They haven't done any drugs. The test isn't dirty. Their body just simply can't produce the required amount. So that's it for this video. I got at least one more I'm going to do this morning. Anyway, we'll be back in a few minutes. Thank you.